Well, hello, everyone. We will start promptly and try to take advantage of everyone's time. I'm Dylan Stafford. I think I forgot to introduce myself the other day. I'm the Assistant Dean, the Director of Admissions. Chris and Raymond and Christy and Vartan and Chelsea and Cynthia, we are your admissions team. And if you're attending today, mostly you are in rounds 1 and 2. We have possibly a couple of upper class students who may join. Welcome. We saw many of you in person last Saturday, and these lunch and learns, these Welcome 45s are a chance to just go a little bit deeper and also make this accessible for folks who are, Seattle, San Diego. But we welcome everyone. We're so glad you're here. Today, I'm really honored to have two faculty members with us. You're going to hear from Paulo de Rezende, who is the Faculty Director of Strategic Research Programs, which includes our Global Access Program, which is historically our strongest and most popular field study. But we are proud of all of our field study programs here at UCLA Anderson. Within the fully employed MBA experience, your main choices are the Global Access Program. By far, that's the most often chose program, but there's also the Business Creation Program. There's even a smaller program called ASAM, and then there are some evolving programs that are happening in parallel. So today we're talking about the biggest, the longest lasting, the most historical. When you talk to FEMBA alumni, most people will talk about the Global Access Program if they graduated in the last 2 decades. So should the Global Access Program be the field study you choose, you will have a lot to talk about with alum, et cetera. What I love about our field studies, they're 6 months long, they're highly impactful, they're very demanding, they're very rigorous. It's a chance after you've completed the core courses, halfway into the elective phase, it's a 6-month opportunity to test drive your MBA while you're still earning your MBA. And that is a wonderful thing to get to do. We want you not only to be smart and networked, but we want you to be confident. And as you go through your MBA, you'll observe your own confidence incrementally increase. And the Global Access Program is one of those transitions that you go through as you earn your MBA, where you actually start to look back at the mirror and you see an emerging business professional. You see a new executive looking back at you in the mirror in the morning. Yes, I'm intelligent. Yes, I have great connections, but also I have the confidence to raise my hand and say, hello, I have a plan. So with no further ado, I would like to introduce Paulo de Rezende, as I said, Faculty Director of Strategic Research Programs. A little bit about Paulo. He wanted to be a consultant and became a venture capitalist. So just like many of you at UCLA Anderson, you'll start aiming at X and you'll end up pointing at something even more interesting that you'll discover along the way. He brings over 20 years of investing experience in both venture capital and private equity. His early VC career began at Zone Ventures here in Los Angeles, which was founded by Tim Draper. He's participated with 3 funds, over 30 companies after the internet bubble burst, lots of learnings. He's participated in several successful exits, DivX, an IPO at NASDAQ, and even Vision, sold to Google. He's created and raised $225 million with his growth equity fund in Brazil. He's from Brazil, I forgot to say. His focus there, Brazilian energy supply chain. He's invested in offshore logistics with combined enterprise value of US 2.5 billion. He's been a UCLA Anderson faculty advisor since 2007 and more fully since 2017. His own education, he's an electrical engineer by undergrad training from the University of Sao Paulo, and his MBA is from the MIT Sloan School of Management. So both Paulo de Rezende and our senior associate dean, Sanford DeVoe, are with us today. Paulo is our guest speaker. I appreciate both of them donating their time with us today. And Paulo, just working with you the last couple of years, I love working with people who work harder than me. And you're definitely one of those people. And it's just exciting watching you lead the faculty in the Global Access Program. And thank you so much for your generous sharing of your time today.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I want to recognize that Dean Gonzalo Freixas is also in
Good.
attendance. So I have to do a good job because I have 2 deans watching me. So if you excuse me, I will just share my screen here. Perfect. So, too fast.
Yep,
The
it's
Global Access Program, as we call GAP, this is a word that you hear quite often at school, is a very traditional capstone, as Dylan has mentioned. So it has been the flagship capstone option for FEMBA students for a while. And it turns out is a very important differentiator of our FEMBA program against other national part-time programs. GAP celebrates 27 years. I remember when I was a panelist in early 2000, and at that time, GAP was already going. We have served over 4,600 students over these 27 years. And we are about to get the 1,000 company mark. We are at 969 companies so far, over 20 countries served in these processes. And I think either this year, but most likely next year, we will hit the 1,000 company mark. So what is GAP? This is as I mentioned, is a capstone where teams of 5 students work together at the end of their journey with us. And in particular in GAP, they are working to create strategic recommendations for a company. And this is based on extensive primary research. So this is a research-driven project. At the same time, this is a business project. And most of the companies we deal with are international technology companies that want to enter the US market. So you will be able to deal with, work with, understand the culture of a different country as it relates to business. At the same time, perform extensive research of the market in the US on behalf of that particular company. There are some projects that are US-based as well. They have similar approaches, market research, but as I mentioned, the vast majority are international projects. So what are you expect to gain for participating in GAP? That is an opportunity for you to apply your skills, hard skills and soft skills, by the way, that you gain through the FEMBA education in a real world setting while still at the school, as Dylan mentioned before. So I like the word that Dylan uses, test drive your FEMBA hard and soft skills, test drive your MBA knowledge while you are at school. Part of this GAP experience involves enhancing your problem-solving skills. So the problem that you are going to be faced is not fully fleshed out on purpose. We provide a scope, the client provides their needs, and part of your journey is really to structure that problem in a way that can be solved. You are going to think critically, what are the elements that you need to address in order to solve that problem? You'll be innovative, understanding what data sources or what approaches, what strategies you need to employ to help your client. It's a great opportunity for networking, not only within your industry, but with the Anderson alumni from all different programs, FEMBA, full-time, executive MBAs as well. As you are going to do research, you are going to learn who from the Anderson alumni network is already active in that particular industry you are researching, and you can start developing additional relationships. Of course, besides that, you are going to look for opportunities to interact with subject matter experts from different walks of life, and that amplifies your opportunity for network. One interesting point is that many times students, I would like to work in a particular industry, and this is an opportunity for you to expand your learning of new industries. What I mean by that is not always you are at the industry of your choice, but you have a journey that will lead to that particular industry. And in GAP, you have opportunity to understand what are the critical elements for your analysis of a new business, a new sector, a new industry. And this will be incredibly useful in your career as you progress from different roles, but also from one industry to another, and get the opportunity to hit the ground running and immediately be conversant and fluent in a new industry. These are some of the things that we are practicing here in GAP. You are going to practice decision-making based on all the research findings that you got. You are going to make recommendations, and you have to decide what is best strategic path for your client. This seems simple at the beginning, but when you realize all the implications of your recommendations in terms of capital at risk, jobs at risk, competitive pressures, you understand what is the weight of your decision. And mind you that not always you have perfect information to make that decision. So this ambiguity is part of what we embed in these projects, so that you have to find your way, your comfort level to make those decisions, even though you might not have a perfect understanding of the scenario, because that is real life. We only know so much. We have a deadline to make decisions, and we need to put them in practice as soon as possible. In all this package, at the end of the day, will prepare you for future executive roles. So GAP is a fast forward opportunity for you to be at the leadership position of this project, understand what are the dilemmas of the C-level suite of your client, work with your colleagues in a very collaborative fashion, network professionally, and all these elements will help you immensely in your career. As I had mentioned before, I just providing here additional details for over these 27 years, 960 plus companies, 4,600 students, and you see a number of countries represented here. Finland has been our most solid partner since day one. So when the project was created in the late 90s, Finland was the country with whom we started working. And from there, the relationship grew a lot. New Zealand also very strong partners like Italy and Australia. I'm very happy to present that Brazil is listed here. I was part of the team that started many years ago, 2008, recruiting Brazilian companies to the project. And as a matter of fact, in this current 2004 edition of GAP, we have another Brazilian project. But you see, we are present in projects in different regions of the world. And of course, this is very exciting opportunity for you to interact with new cultures on a business capacity and understand the challenges faced by those executives. So what is our success formula? It's incredibly simple. We bring together three elements: very smart and committed Anderson students, you basically. We engage a client at executive leadership level who has a hard to solve issue. We want the client to be engaged with you for 6 months. So this has to be a problem of a strategic value for the company that allow you to interface directly with the senior leadership. And also the leadership is very interested in your findings. What you notice over the 6-month period, at the beginning, you are more absorbing information, asking questions to the executives, understanding their business, understanding their company. And over time, the roles are reversed, and you are providing them information that you gather through your research. You are providing advice, and they become very they rely a lot on your advice for the direction they want to take the company after the program is over. And to add the third element, this is the school, of course, in the form of faculty, all the processes that we have developed over this 27-year history to make a successful project. And as you can see from the consistency with which some of our partner countries come back to the program, it demonstrates how much value we added to them, to their executives, at the same time to your education. How this whole magic works, it happens over 2 quarters, summer and fall, meaning we start a program in June. So here I have some dates for 2024. The actual teams start to meet a little bit before June in May, but the instruction starts in late June and goes all the way to December. The green boxes here is the part where you are understanding and meeting your client, understanding client needs, define the project scope, define the primary research needs. And typically in the period of July through September, that's when you are expected to travel for research. Typically, at least two team members will travel to the headquarters of your client to understand their business environment, the capacities of your client, what capabilities they have in terms of finance, in terms of technology, what's their talent pool, what are their operations. So this visit to the client is an opportunity for you to use and apply all the knowledge you gather in the core curriculum of the FEMBA program into your GAP project. Over time, you transition from primary research into analysis. You gather all the data that you and your colleagues in the team have gathered. You start identifying patterns and how those patterns will become solid findings that will drive recommendations to your client, and culminates with the final deliverables in the form of a business plan or final report and presentation. Here we are combining two forms of delivering the content to your client, a in-person oral verbal presentation, but also a written assignment. The written assignment is important because it's an opportunity for you not only to go in more details about all your analysis and findings, but you to practice how you present in a succinct manner very complex issues to executive management. And of course, in the oral presentation, we will do the same, and that is an opportunity for you to practice in front a C-suite level executives. This journey takes 6 months, is very intense, but very rewarding. And you can talk to students that have participated in the past programs. This is a team that worked with me in 2022. They had a project in southern Brazil. They were very, very excited, as you can see here from the final presentation day when we have the cocktail here at the school. So they were very pleased with the outcome of the project, which was very challenging because they were working in this particular case with farmers in southern Brazil, which not necessarily all of them had the same exposure to business or even to language skills. So they were very innovative on how they were able to perform their research and do their project under those conditions. I have a couple of sample projects that I can talk about here, just to give you an idea of how diverse they are. The first one is a candy producer from Finland, very traditional candy, black licorice, and they want to bring that brand and product into the US. The team performed a market entry strategy for a 3-year plan, and that was based on extensive market research, taste, consumption habits, conjoint analysis, and interestingly, this client in particular, the investor in this client, the chairman of this company, is a repeat client. Before that, they had come to us and had another project, which is this distillery. So not only they enjoyed the first project, which happened to be with my team as well, but they came back for a second opportunity with a different company. Another example is an anti-aging dietary supplement produced in Lithuania. And this particular company wants to enter the US market. So the students had to do not only market research, but also to understand specific constraints that might be applicable to that product in terms of what kind of regulations are in place in the US that would make possible or not possible for the company to enter the US. And they did a very good job in recommending a set of strategies, but the outcome of their recommendation from a financial perspective is that the company should not enter the market until there was proven efficacy of their product, because the company would spend so much in terms of marketing efforts that the financial results would not be interesting. So here you see, when you're talking about market entry, it's not only about the market research, the marketing components, but and the strategy on how you implement that entry is all about financial analysis and financial strategy. So in this case, although a viable entry was identified, it did not pay off from a financial return perspective. And the other program, just to give a very different example, this is a project from Sweden in 2020. This company developed a way to charge electric vehicles on the road. It's basically a rail that is put on the road with a lot of electronics and safety components. The vehicle that is going to be charged drives over that rail, lowers a contact part that receives the current that charges the batteries. So this company had at the time they were very, very early stage. I have been following them on LinkedIn, and they have been doing incredibly well in terms of proving their prototype. They have projects already in place in Europe. And the students did a very comprehensive analysis for the Southern California market, and they identified that particular case a opportunity with the Port of Los Angeles. So these are some of the examples. We'll share these links with you afterwards so you can hear from the students themselves how they enjoyed their experience in GAP. So this the testimonial from Brittany, she mentions that my salary doubled during UCLA and then doubled again. In GAP, we work on those consulting projects, breaking down a real-life business problem, building a business plan and a financial model, setting a strategy, and achieving that strategy with a company is such a great experience. And this is all available on YouTube. Same here for additional colleagues from 23, 21, and class of 28. So this is the overview I'd like to provide. I'm very happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you so much, Paulo. So just as we did a couple days back, just kind of raise your hand, come off mute, raise your digital hand. But we'd love to give you a chance to speak directly with the faculty director of the Global Access Program. Who would like to go first? Andy, please.
Yeah.
Oh, and same, just a quick, your company and your city or anything, just kind of introduce yourself a tiny bit.
Yeah. Hi everyone. My name is Andy Zhang. So I work at a UI as audit and live in LA. So I also have my own business. It's martial arts and entertainment related. So my question is, for the company we will work with, do we have the option to pick or will be assigned?
Yes, we ask you to state your preferences in 3 categories, but at the end of the day, the exact company will be assigned to you. What we learned over the years is that a successful project from your student perspective as learning, it does not depend much on the company. Of course, if you are in a particular industry of more of your interest, that makes probably easier for you. But the successful learning outcomes do not depend on company A or B, but much more on the student engagement and the nature of the project and so on.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for going first, Andy. I appreciate it. Oh, Professor, I have a question.
Please.
So I'm consulting for 6 months. Do I have to quit my job? How does that, or do I have to quit my job for 6 months? I don't understand. How can I be a fully employed MBA program and be a consultant full-time for 6 months? Do I have to quit my job?
No, you don't. I hope not. No, you don't. There is plenty of opportunities for you to arrange your schedule according to your availability, and particularly here on the GAP program, this happens over 2 quarters, so you can pace yourself so that you can add this extra workload to your week. At the same time, you are in this typically recommend that you only take GAP in that particular 2 quarters, so you don't overload yourself with additional courses. So that becomes a very manageable workload for you and, of course, your professional career. And I understand many of you have families to take care of as well.
Thank you. Yeah, just sometimes people misunderstand when they hear about GAP. So this is just like a regular FEMBA class, there's a class over the summer, and then there is a sequential class in the fall. But this happens in the evenings and on the weekends, exactly like the rest of FEMBA, with the exception of when you do your research, you may step away from work for up to a week to go do your primary research. So just sometimes people start to get concerned about the details. You don't have to think about GAP for a year and a half. You have a year and a half before you even choose, shall I do the Global Access Program? Shall I do the Business Creation Program? Or might I even do one of the smaller boutique field studies? Michaela, please.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask, is there any differences for this program between like the hybrid option for the FEMBA program versus the other two?
No. From the program perspective, as Dylan mentioned, you are going to meet nights and weekends or meet with your team as according to your availability. And then when you come to in-person activities at school on the weekend, that does not interfere with your particular schedule.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
And Michaela, if you don't mind, just tell us, quickly, like your company or your city. Just let us get to know you a tiny bit.
Yeah, I work for Disney, and I'm currently based out of Burbank, California.
Thank you, Michaela. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Ashil, good to see you again.
Same. Hi, Paulo. Thanks for giving the overview. I'm Ashil. I work at Capital Group, which is a financial services company located in downtown. I myself am in Pasadena, and excited to be joining this fall. I wanted to ask about the outcome of this. So we obviously make a recommendation to the client. What else is included, as in just thinking over this, like a presentation to let's say you, the director, and is it graded, or is it that we make recommendation and that is the final outcome?
Perfect. Yeah, very good question. So these, I didn't get into the details of the academics, but yes, you have multiple assignments leading up to those final assignments that I mentioned. And we have a very detailed grading process for this course. The course is graded more on the quality of your analysis, but also on your engagement, the quality of research, your insights that you bring to the team. So there are actually six different factors that relate to your grade. And this is for let's say, the academic part. The combination of the program is you finalize your report, you send that to the client, but also send to a group of industry experts. And we bring 3 industry experts who will read your report with 1 week in advance. And then at the final presentation day, they will be on a panel in front of you, and you present to this set of industry experts. Because they have read the report, they have a lot of the detailed information of your research or work. They will ask questions after you and your team present for 20 minutes. Those questions, how you respond them, and so on, this is being used in terms of evaluation. So for evaluation component of the presentation is the presentation itself. Is it well done? It's compelling, flows well, elements are there. The Q&A as well. If the panelists like or dislike your recommendations, that is not up to them to influence your grade. It's me observing your team presenting Q&A that I will grade that component. Besides that, as I mentioned, there are all the other academic elements component. The client get that final recommendation, and then it's up to the client to implement or not. What we observed is that a lot of value comes from the interaction between the client and the students. Not so much that you delivered a thesis equivalent document, but what they learned and they understood from the competitive environment of the US, as examples I mentioned to you, these are not necessarily large companies with ability to fully research the US market. So interacting with you, they learn a lot, and they influence and are influenced by your recommendations. So it's up to them ultimately to implement them or not. We, as a school, don't necessarily get involved in that implementation of such recommendations.
Okay, thanks so much. That was very helpful. And do we get access to those industry experts? Like just thinking of the candy example that you gave, right? I know not much about candies except for eating them. Do we get to do we get access to people who we can talk to as to if we have any questions? Just curious about that.
Yeah, so this is part of the challenge. You are thrown into a new industry. Who do you talk to, right? How you navigate your way to understand what is information relevant, what kind of person can provide me that information. So you start after an initial client discussion, we help to guide you to define a scope for the project and to define a research plan. So for each project, we help the students to identify what is the relevant information they need to gather, therefore the research plan. And let's say in this case, you need to talk to people in the industry, in the candy industry, distribution, manufacturing, marketing, you know, nobody, right? So that's what I pointed early. One very good first step is to check the alumni database at Anderson. What are resources? Who is in this industry? Have sometimes someone launched a business that is related to that. You can talk to that alum or alumna about the business they created. So navigating your way to find these resources is part of the challenge, exactly because in real life, you may be asked to take a position in a new role within Capital Group, or you go to the competitor and you are now leading a different division, and you need to navigate yourself in this new environment. Of course, we provide some help, some guidance. You have access, for instance, to LinkedIn Sales Navigator that will help you to identify people. But I know this is not an easy part of the project, and this is exactly why it's there, because it's real life, how you reach out to people who are specialists in something that you don't understand and you need to interact with them. So that's why the research component is so important. We provide help, but I want to make sure, I mean, this is part of the learning outcomes of the project. So understanding where to find and what to ask these individuals is part of what the teams need to do. Sometimes gets very, very complicated, as you can imagine. We're talking about candy. Many people know what it is. The other day we had a project from New Zealand, which was 3D printed titanium parts, right? So it's more specific. In that particular case, for very clear strategic reasons, they want to produce parts of a certain size, and those parts would be fitted into sailing boats, racing or leisure. So we're talking about a much smaller market than candy, right? Boats, pleasure, but also racing. This was a very expensive part because it printed in titanium with very technical advantages. But so you start narrowing down that particular market. And this is part of the process to understand how you go from a broad statement, where do I sell this part, into identifying the right market size. So it was incredibly challenging to the students, but they did a good job. And I have to be honest, it was during the pandemic, just to make matters more complicated. So they could not just walk around, go to a reseller of sailing boats and ask questions. So the navigation, the process by which they identified who to talk to, get the right answers, that is part of the evaluation. And fortunately, in their case, they did a very good job. So the challenge is exactly how you structure your thought process to identify those people you want to talk to.
Makes sense. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks everyone. And Paulo, thank you so much. I only asked for half an hour of your time, so I appreciate the bonus 5 minutes. Everyone who attended today, you know, the Global Access Program, really, I've interviewed lots of alumni. It's one of the things people talk about the most who've graduated over the last 27 years, if you can imagine. So you're connected to 2.5 decades of Anderson FEMBA alumni. You're connected to, you know, like as was said, 4,600 students, all these companies from all these countries around the world. it really is a connective tissue that is very special. It's not the only field study, but it is our largest by a long shot, and it is the longest existing. And it is no small task to be the faculty director. So Paulo, thank you for what you do. It was so exciting back in December watching the final presentations. So to those of you who are admitted, this is one of the reasons you're admitted. And, excuse me, to those of you who've chosen your admission, this is one of the things to look forward to. For those of you who are sitting on the fence, the recording I shared this morning, Chad's a great third-year FEMBA, just completed. He was admitted here. He was admitted to Berkeley. He actually chose Anderson because of GAP. And if you listen to his 5-minute interview, it's really interesting to hear him say, wow, GAP really did validate, every school is great for different reasons, but we say there are some very specific attributes of UCLA Anderson that you're only going to get here. And this week we wanted to emphasize 2 of those with the Leadership at Anderson program 2 days ago and today with the Global Access program. So sorry to be a salesman, but the flip side is it's good to know what you've accomplished, and earning a seat at UCLA is a big deal. And now it's like the next level research kicks in after your admission. And, your MBA is not for 3 years. Your MBA is for the next 3 or 4 or 5 decades. And the coming together of your education in a practicum with a real C-suite, with a real company, polishing those executive influence skills of hard and soft influence. The Global Access program, as I observe it, and as I hear our alumni report about it, it pulls that all together. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm always a salesman. Paulo, thank you. Everyone else, I'll just do the kind of random breakout rooms. We'll do 3 or 4 rooms. If you have time to stay and you'd like to network, please do so. If you have to go, we respect and appreciate that. We will record this session. We'll share it around. Next week, Executive Director of Global Emergence, the Center for Global Management, Lucy Allard, will speak on Thursday. And then the Executive Director of the dedicated FEMBA Career Services team, Pam Schultz, will be our guest on Friday. So you're invited to both of those too. Paulo, again, thank you for your time. Happy weekends, everyone. And give me 1 second here and I'll get some breakout rooms.
Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, Dylan.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
All right, here we go with some breakouts if you'd like. All right.